Jude Bellingham is going to cost some team a frankly eye-watering amount of money this summer, but unless, you know, you're a season ticket holder in das Bundesliga and you see him play pretty much every week, you might be asking yourself the question, is he worth it? And if you all just join me on the pitch here for a moment, very conveniently for me, who wanted to do a video on him this week, last night's England game kind of proved that he is. Alright, so a little bit of housekeeping. This is England as they lined up against Italy last night. This is Jude Bellingham on the left of a midfield three, but weirdly, when the team news dropped, a lot of people reported it as like that. They had it as a 4-2-3-1 with Bellingham just off Kane and the double pivot of Rice and Phillips there, but that's not what it was at all. They were a three. Sort of. Declan Rice was definitely in front of the back four, but England, weirdly, when Italy were in possession, went with this really aggressive 4-1-4-1. Like you can see here, Italy are doing the build-up on the edge of their own box, and this is how they chose to press, with Phillips and Bellingham pretty much in a direct line with Saka and Grealish. That's not interesting for this video. It's just interesting in the context of Gareth Southgate, because he never normally does that. But I digress. We're here to talk about Bellingham, who was indeed playing on the left of midfield three. Look, I'll prove it. Here he is receiving the ball from Luke Shaw in this wide position. Here he is driving the ball forward down that left-hand channel, getting involved with Jack Grealish, getting involved with Harry Kane, creating these nice little passing triangles, and that's kind of where he does his best work for England. Do you remember the Senegal game at the World Cup where he was really, really good when he was playing in that position? Then he likes being in that hand side of the pitch. Here's his heat map. Look, I can prove it again. But dear friends, I'm going to get straight to the point in this video, which I know, very unlike me. Jude Bellingham was playing here. Yes, he was on the left of a midfield three, but Jude Bellingham basically played the role of about 4 or 5 different midfielders last night. For about half an hour, that first half an hour, it was incredible. Now, you know that people love to come up with these fancy sounding words for all the different things midfielders can be good at. He's a Mazzella, he's a Regista, etc, etc. But if we can all just be honest with each other for a minute, midfielders can basically be broken down into 3 things. There are the midfielders who do their best work on the pitch in this area, there are midfielders who do their best work on the pitch in this area, and there are midfielders who do their best work on the pitch in this area. You know, you watch your football team and there are midfielders in your team who reassure you when they're in this area, and there are midfielders in your team who excite you when they're in this area. That's its most simplest form. Most simplest. Good English. And the thing you need to understand about Jude Bellingham, right, is that he is one of the best players in the world in this position. But he's also one of the best players in the world in this position. And he's also, conveniently, one of the best players in the world in this position. He literally can play almost any midfield role at just an elite level. And that's just what he did last night for England, as and when situations required him to do it. Like Declan Rice, he was sitting in front of the back four, but here, for example, is Bellingham winning the ball back in that defensive third. He was popping up all over the pitch, but his main responsibilities were on the left-hand side. Here he is driving in field to ultimately win a foul in that area. Oh, Omar, would you look at that? Now he's the most advanced midfielder in a central area. He's getting right up alongside Kane to give the defence something else to think about, to give himself other options to help create chances. Here he is being really aggressive in the final third as well. This one doesn't look particularly good, but he wins that ball back, which allows Saka to have that shot on goal. He'll do it himself as well. Here he is in a similar position, receiving the ball and thinking, ooh, I'll just have a go myself. And that leads to the corner which England score their first goal from. And tired of doing all that, here he is as the most forward player in the entire team, an inch away from getting onto Harry Kane's cross and scoring himself. Like, the guy literally does it all, and does it all in every game. Like, I know graphs and stats are an incredibly boring way to look at football, but I just want you to look at these graphs and stats and just take a moment, just breathe it in. Remember, have you ever smoked? Remember the first time you smoked and it just completely filled your entire being and you thought you were going to die? Take this graph in like that. Now, what do you have to do to be a good defensive midfielder? You've got to be good at the tackles, you've got to be good at the interceptions, you've got to be good at the blocks, that kind of thing. Well, for those, Bellingham ranks in the top 25, 15-ish, and 5% in all of Europe. That makes him easily one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. What do you want a really good modern centre midfielder to do? You want them to progress the ball with passes, you want to progress the ball with runs, you want them to be receiving the ball, you want them to get loads of touches. Well, for every single one of those stats, Bellingham ranks in the top 10% almost in all of Europe. That makes him easily one of the best central midfielders in the world. And what do you want out of your attacking midfielders? They've got to create chances, they've got to make things happen, they've got to provide assists, they've got to score goals, etc. Well, you're not going to believe this. Top 10% for shot creating actions and non-penalty goals, top 20% for expected assists and key passes and all of that. He's, again, one of the best attacking midfielders in the world. He's all three of these players. And if there's anybody out there going like, yeah, well, but German league, isn't it? I'm not really that impressed by that. That's the last 365 days, buddy, so it includes the World Cup. Is the World Cup good? Do you think maybe there's some good players at the World Cup? You think that's actually pretty impressive then? Oh, and just on something that can't be measured by stats or graphs, here he is receiving the ball in what I would honestly describe as one of the worst possible positions to ever receive a ball. 3 Italy players around you, a pass with a little bit too much vim on it, and it's bouncing up in the air. You lose this, and they are in. Yeah, but doesn't panic though, just stays composed, pops it over the top of one of their heads, into Luke Shaw's feet, and England are away. That is nuts. That's not normal at 19. That's not a normal level of composure. It's not a normal level of technical ability. It's not a normal level of decision making. It is not a normal level of having your shit together. I would, in a blind panic, have booted that ball clear up the other end of the pitch and received a small round of applause from the defenders for playing safe. And the mad thing about that is, a lot of professional footballers would probably do the same. He's 19! These are his numbers, and he's 19. Like, so theoretically, they're only going to improve as he goes on with his career, and that's insane. And you always hear things about, like, oh, England need to build a team around their best player. You heard it about Rooney, you heard it about Gerrard, you heard it about Kane, etc. And genuinely, England, the last thing they should do is build a team around Jude Bellingham. They just shouldn't do that. And the reason for that is, which Jude Bellingham do you build it around? Like, if you decide you're going to play Bellingham in front of the back four because he's so good at recoveries and instigating counter-attacks, okay, cool, but then you restrict yourself from the Bellingham that can play absolutely everywhere, that can drive the ball forward, that can get it in the number 10 positions, that can score goals, that can create chances. So why would you do that? And likewise, if you decide you're going to play him as a 10 because he's so good on the ball, then you deny yourself the brilliance he has in front of his own box and how good he will be at, you know, recovering the ball. So build it around another player who's got one very good skill set, not like your Swiss Army knife. So why is Jude Bellingham going to be worth so much money in the summer? Well, do you want to know why he wears the number 22? Just to quickly go back to our incredibly oversimplified midfielders are good here, or midfielders are good here, or midfielders are good here comparison. Traditionally across Europe, you associate the defensive midfielder with wearing the number 4. You take your all-action centre midfielders to wear the number 8, and your most creative force in the midfield, he tends to get the number 10. Are you with me now? 4 plus 8 plus 10 is 22. Bellingham wears that number because he plays all 3 of these positions better than almost anyone else in the world. Now I know what you're thinking, is that actually true? And well, I don't know. What I do know, though, is that someone's going to have to spend about 100 to 200 million to prize him away from Borussia Dortmund this summer, and for whoever that is, it will be money well spent. Certainly won't be me, though. I'll tell you that, because if I had 150 million, what would I spend it on? Like, Warhammer 40k? And what would that get me? Like, 3 boxes and a couple of paints? So, no, it won't be me. Liverpool, Chelsea, Real Madrid, one of them perhaps, not me. If you've enjoyed this Bellingham 101, please do let us know in the comments, and of course share it around to all your little buddies. They do miss you dearly, and we're trying to grow the channel, and that really helps us out, so thank you very much. Until next time though, which I think will probably be just after the Ukraine game, so let's hope something interesting happens there. I've been Adam Cleary, this has been 442, I do dearly love you all. I'll see you soon, bye. And that's it, that's the video. Thank you so very much for watching and making it all the way till the end. Somebody's keen. While you're here, please do consider subscribing to the 442 YouTube channel. We've got loads of awesome football content dropping all through the week, as well as an amazing library of documentaries, player interviews, and performance guides as well. Until next time though, thank you once again for watching. I do hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.